Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I'm going to talk about the month of January, the first month of the new year of 2021. This will be one of the most action-packed months of the year, and what a way to begin 2021. Before I begin though, I would want everyone to know that if you would like all of this transcribed and written out and sent to your email address, go to my website and sign up for my free newsletter. My website is galacticcenter.org. And one more exciting event that I have going on is January 27th is the new start date for semester 1 with the University of Vedic Astrology. If you really want to understand how I'm able to make these predictions, this is the route to go. Check that out at my university website. It's all online, universityofvedicastrology.com. And while you're at my website, please check out my new malas and spiritual jewelry for the new year of 2021. You'll be very excited to see all the new additions that we have. So with that, let's get on with the new year, January 2021. As I said, this will be the most action-packed month of the year because what we're approaching into this new year is a new presidency, Inauguration Day, which is January 20th, 2021. Now, as I've been saying all along, expect the unexpected. And boy, do I mean that. This day is the most unusual day I have ever seen in all of history for an inauguration day. And I've been talking about this for a long time because on that day, that's the day that Mars and Uranus will come together and conjoin exactly. And that's going to be around 12 degrees of Aries. And I want you to be aware that Uranus is the planet of the unexpected sudden events, and Mars is a planet of war and violence. So this is not going to be just a peaceful overturn of energy, of presidency. There's going to be so much that happens behind this. And you've got to know that here in the United States, the country is split like never before. Everything is about to change, and what you think is going to happen will be the opposite. So I have said many times, this whole election and the whole process is unlike any other time in history. And the government, everything about the United States is about to change. And actually, this is going to have its repercussions and vibrations all over the world because everything is going to change. Everything is beginning where we're not even going to exchange money in the same way. Money, government, leadership, and the people. Everything is going to change more dramatically than ever before. And I mean this. This sounds very dramatic, but this is very dramatic. If you thought 2020 was a difficult year, think again, because this year will be completely different. A whole new host of events are going to happen, but it is going to be, I have to say it, it's going to be more violent than last year. Something is up and about to happen. This whole year is fraught with massive, massive turnabouts and changes. So let's begin with really talking about day by day as things are going to evolve. So Mars is in the sign of Aries for the most of this month. Aries is action. Aries is the sign of, well, it's really about the sign of power, energy, violence, anger, and it can represent war. And one of the things I have said about this year, a whole different host of events is about to take place. And yes, it's going to involve some type of wars. Will these wars be internal civil wars, or will these wars be with other countries? My answer to that is both. This is how extreme this year is going to be. And everything has been building and building. Another thing that I see within this year that is, everyone talks about that there are earthquakes, right? There's always earthquakes, but mark my words, if this year doesn't have more earthquakes, it will break records and storms and violence, because everything is finally coming up to a crescendo. This is a breaking point. This is an evolution. So Mars entered into Aries December 24th, and it will remain in Aries till February 22nd. And this stirs things up. So as it comes together with Uranus does rule earthquakes and radical shifts and changes that come completely unexpectedly. And so that's why I keep saying, expect the unexpected. And everyone is so divided about their feelings about the government and who's going to take over as the President of the United States. If you think that everything's going to be peacefully transformed into a new government, think again, because there is going to be nothing peaceful about this. And I think we can't even imagine what this is going to look like. That's how radical the astrological signatures of this year are. And by the way, I am going to be doing the entire year's predictions. This is the first time I've ever done this on YouTube to give away my 2021 predictions. So get ready. I'm going to give it all away so that everyone can prepare. We are going to need to prepare for what is coming this year because it's going to be explosive. I know that sounds melodramatic, but please, you'll see as this year evolves. So as everything comes about, one of the things that I think is monumental for this year is, and I've been talking about this for so long, the truth needs to come out. And we don't even realize what I'm talking about because the truth is far greater and goes deeper than any of the things that are talked about on social media. This is really profound. But the realizations of this truth is what needs to happen to heal planet Earth. And this is what is coming about. So recognize how intense everything gets while Mars is conjunct Uranus. And it's coming closer to Uranus. And around the time that Mars hits Uranus, Uranus stations. Because when a planet stations, meaning it slows down and stops, it makes its impact the whole month of January. The earth will be shaking. The earth will be vibrating from this extreme energy and the anger and the suppressed anger that's been going on with the people for so long. Angry about their political whatever, who they wanted, whether they're in or not. I say this election, what we think is going to happen, who we think the president's going to be, it's not over. Something's about to change. Wait and see. So everyone's preparing. Everyone knows the media's giving us one picture, but it's different than what they want us to know. And I know something's about to give. So there is going to be a turn of events. And this will involve, there will be protests, there will be radical upsets, there will be violence in the streets. This is going to be something we can't imagine that's about to happen. And as the year goes on, it just continues. So I wanted to talk about a lot of things that we can be doing to be mitigating all of this turmoil that is consuming our life. And what about the coronavirus and the vaccine? Where is this going to take us? Yes, it's going to start to get better with the vaccine. But I'm not going to say it's going to stay there, because it's not. But one thing I do know that's imperative, that's going to happen this year, are medical miracles are about to come about. So there's going to be things that we never thought we could cure and change. So that's the beauty, the inventions, the transformations in how we view science and healing and medicine will transform, and there's going to be so much hope when it comes to how we look at disease and problems in our world. So that's one of the positives that comes out of this dire situation with the coronavirus that never seems to go away. But another thing that you're going to like about January and February is the stock market. As I've been saying all along, it's going to go sky high. But don't rest in peace that it's going to stay there. Yes, I've been warning everyone around April and May, maybe a little bit before that in March, everything's going to shift in the stock market, that is. But you got a couple of months to take advantage of it. Yes, it is so sad. So many people are losing their jobs because of the shutdowns. And it's going to pay the price in the second half of the year. It's not going to continue where the stock market's going to be soaring, but because of the vaccine and because of the different presidency, because of all the change, at first, the stock market's going to go sky high. Take advantage of that if you can, because it's not going to stay that way. And I'll keep you guys very prepared as to when the changes will come about. And another thing that's on the way is in the news, they've been talking about the virus mutating, getting to where possibly certain things won't affect it anymore. It can be more contagious. This is what they're talking about. I still think we're going to have these spikes will start to come down and people will start to get more normal with their life. But next fall, we've got another outbreak. So don't get too comfortable with everything. Eventually, we have to be patient. We're not going to live like this forever. You have to be patient that things are going to get better, because they really are. But I got to say this about Donald Trump. If you think he's going away, and I've said this before, think again, because looking at his chart, he does become more powerful. He does around the months of March, when Mars goes into Taurus. It's going to go into his 10th house and conjunct his sun while Jupiter is casting a trine to it. It just doesn't even make sense that he's not in power with that kind of aspect. So there is probably going to be two governments operating at the same time. One thing that I find very interesting about the month of January is the fact that Pluto goes into Capricorn. And Pluto has not been in Capricorn since the beginning of the United States, when the Constitution, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed. That was the last time Pluto was in Capricorn. So we've got a Pluto return. Pluto's all about massive change in government, and it does deal with atomic energy. So we have to be careful where this planet's going with that. And this is a big change. But another thing is Pluto hitting 0 degrees of Capricorn. In astrology, 0 degrees of a cardinal sign is the cardinal axis. And the last time that Pluto hit the cardinal axes, which what are the cardinal signs? They're actually the signs where the seasons change, which is Capricorn's it's the time of the darkest night, the winter solstice, and the other time is Cancer, the summer solstice, and the other time is Aries and Libra, which are the equinox times for the spring and the fall. So these are the points of radical change. When a planet, especially a planet as slow moving as Pluto, marks that axis of 0 degrees of a cardinal sign, this is the time of the biggest change. The last time that Pluto was at 0 degrees of Libra was 1981. During that time was the time that President Reagan came into office. He was elected in 1980. And he brought about a complete revolution, Reaganomics, with the economy. And yes, there was a big depression. And there can be some major shifts in terms of the economy because things have to change and be readjusted. And it will. So this is the markings of Pluto coming into Capricorn. Government and money will change dramatically this year. So prepare yourself and be wise with this. So another thing that I want to say is that we have to be very conscious of being wrapped up in all of this anger and all of this frustration and rage that's happening, because I'm always trying to help people find their sense of peace and to make the best of what's to come, because this is the time of spiritual transformation, and we all have to look within. Because to look without, you're going to be confused and you're going to be afraid. Don't be full of fear. Don't contribute to the mass hysteria that will be happening this year. I say so many things are coming out about the truth. There's been so much about space and space travel, how we can get to other planets, but also transportation in the world is changing, and our connection to what's out there in outer space. Yes, there is going to be communication with aliens. If it doesn't come out in 2021, 2022 is the year. But it's obvious it's happening, but it may need to remain secret. This could be, though, part of the mass hysteria that I'm seeing be revealed this year, because as I've said before, Donald Trump will reveal things. No one will believe him. But open your mind. That's what I have to say. So in this mass chaos, we have to find our sense of peace and we have to not contribute to the chaos. So I want to go into, if there's anything that I say that this year is about, is revealing the truth. And I always say the truth heals. Yes, the truth always heals. And this is what's going to change the planet for the better. But people won't accept it at first. That's a true issue. So what do I feel like is the most important thing for us to come back around to? Family. Family is our grounding point. Stay connected with the love and connection, unconditional love with family, because we're going to need it. But now I want to talk about the predictions for each of the astronomical events that I see happening. And one is by January 3rd. You're going to see Venus enters into the sign of Sagittarius. Now remember, always, I am talking about the sidereal zodiac used in Vedic astrology, not Western tropical astrology. But these are the true placements. And as Venus goes into Sagittarius, Sagittarius is adventuresome with love and affection, getting it out there. But one thing I do know, it's about finding the truth. Once again, all these planets evolving through this sign will bring out messages about the truth. Now, this month of January, Venus will start to transit behind the sun. Remember, Venus has been a morning star for so long. And when Venus is a morning star, yes, it is behind the sun, because once the sun rises, you will see Venus in the morning. But soon Venus is going to catch up and travel in front of the sun. And it will eventually be an evening star, but it won't show up till later in the year, where you can see Venus as an evening star. When Venus is an evening star, when it first appears, interestingly enough, the ancient astrologers thought it was a sign of war. So here is another indication that keeps telling me we are going to be in conflict on this planet, big time. But there's many repercussions about Venus appearing. Venus is about finding peace. And that's going to be something that's going to be relatively very important in the coming year. Venus, as it appears as an evening star later in the year, will bring the need and the reality of trying to find peace. So mark that. But at least Venus is shifting where it is coming together with the sun. It will not be seen in the morning or the evening for quite some time. So Venus will be even in the nakshatra Mula, and this will be January 3rd through the 13th. Mula is ruled by Ketu, and this is very spiritual, but it does deal with destruction. So be very conscious and aware that by January 14th, Venus will enter into the nakshatra called Purva Ashada. And that will be a relief because Purva Ashada is ruled by Venus. And this will help in instances where relationships, personal relationships in your own life will improve after January 14th. Before that, it's iffy. There's going to be a lot of things that come out, and even in your personal relationships, talking about finding the truth, you're going to find out a lot of true things, not only about your partner, but about yourself. So that's a good thing. Now, January 4th, Mercury will enter into Capricorn, and it's amazing how many signs or planets are going to line up in the sign of Capricorn late January into February. It's going to be a stellium of about 5 planets, all in the sign of Capricorn, which is the sign of government and ruled by Saturn. Saturn's in Capricorn. There has to be a new organization, a new transformation of energy and leadership and power around the world. Things haven't been working out too well. with the way that we get along with each other, country by country. Something needs to be exposed before this can happen. And it will. Okay, so as Mercury is in Capricorn, this is an organizational ability, and a lot is going to change with the media. The way that the media, it's going to break apart, probably Facebook and all of those media platforms. Something will radically change because they've been censoring too much. There has been so much happening in this area. Freedom of speech is getting limited in the United States and actually around the world. So January 13th is the new moon, and this new moon is at 29 degrees of Sagittarius, the sign of truthfulness. So finally, the media, free speech, everything's going to be brought down so that we can start changing the way that we communicate in this world. All of the propaganda, well, not all of it, but a lot of it will be exposed, and that's going to change the world. Okay, so the righteousness that goes along with the sign of Sagittarius, the righteousness, the indignation, the way that people look to others, put others down for their beliefs. That's another thing that needs to stop, because everyone thinks they're right. And what we have to learn to do is to accept other people's opinions. Remember this, people's opinions are formed by their backgrounds, how they were raised, where they came from. That's okay. Accept it and move on. But don't be making other people feel bad for the way they believe. It's their prerogative and it's their freedom. So, but by the time we come to January 14th, as I said, this is where Uranus starts to station. And it's going to turn direct around 12 degrees of Aries. And that's the point where Mars is about to conjoin a stationary Uranus. Things are rocking and shaking all over the world. And not only will there be many earthquakes, there may even be the possibility that something's postponed big time in this world based on this, okay? But there'll be many earthquakes, tsunamis, shaking, fires, volcanic eruptions as well. All right, January 20th, I don't need to say anything more about this because it's the time to expect the unexpected. And this day will mark a day in history, I promise you, that will never be forgotten. And a turn of events will rock the world on this day. January 25th, Mercury will enter into Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of humanity. Things will start to move into this direction or appear to, but it won't stick. You know why? Because Mercury on the last day of the month, well, actually the 30th of January, yes, Mercury will turn retrograde in Aquarius, 2 degrees of Aquarius, and it will retrograde back into Capricorn, representing another turnabout that we thought things were a certain way, but they're not. Things will change. So by January 27th, this day, Venus is going to enter into Capricorn. And as I said, there's a time period in February that there is going to be a major stellium, really starting at this time, the 27th of January. This stellium will involve Venus, Pluto, of course the Sun, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury. All of these planets will be in the sign that deals with government affairs and changing things. So this is in the early part of February. But let me say something about January 27th. This is an amazing day because Jupiter will be Cassimi. Do you know what Cassimi means? Cassimi is where Jupiter and the Sun become one. They're the same exact degree. Now, let me just say this. When Jupiter is not exactly the same degree of the Sun, it's combust the Sun, which means that it's burnt, it's harmed, it's weakened. So Jupiter combusts the Sun is burnt, and Jupiter's power for opportunities and expansion are limited while it's traveling too close to the Sun. But the day that it's Cassimi, on January 27th, it unites as one. So it's a very special day. By the way, that day is the day I plan to open up my semester 1 with the University of Vedic Astrology because it's such an auspicious day based on that. So I'm telling everyone out there, because plan certain events according to when it's the best day to do things. That day's special. Plan some of your most important events on January 27th when Jupiter unites as one with the Sun. And it is a great day to organize and begin new things. So if you're interested in studying with me with Vedic astrology, check it out. I'm serious. On my website, universityofvedicastrology.com, and you'll see what momentum we have in learning and teaching Vedic astrology. It's amazing. So everything is going to change on that day. You'll get a positive feel, the vibrations, there'll be happiness. But soon after, things will go back to the way they were. By January 28th, we have a full moon. This full moon is going to be in the nakshatra Pushya. And Pushya is the nourisher. It's the one that gives nourishment and protection. And I think this is where we're going to have to go with the full moon. Remember, the full moon sheds light on the darkness and the new beginnings of what started from the new moon. But this fullness and brightness, there will begin to be a hope from this roller coaster ride that we are going through on this planet at this particular time in history. And I believe that this full moon will bring some hope, a lot of hope, in the area of this coronavirus that has been plaguing the world for so long. Because what do I see is a lot of healing discoveries. This is the beauty that manifests out of it. Yes, it's a curse, but it's a blessing. Something very positive will evolve. And we'll look back at this time saying, I never want to go through that again, but thank God it happened. That's the beauty of a blessing in disguise. And that's what's about to come. And the way that we run the world, the way that we run our government and our banking systems and our finances, the way we exchange money is transforming and changing dramatically. Remember, I have said so many times, cryptocurrency is the wave of the future, blockchain, all of that. People couldn't understand it when it first came out and thought it was crazy. But it's the wave of the future, so get ready. Yes, you're understanding and seeing now, Bitcoin is not going away. No, look where it is now. As I told many to get involved, and many said, it's going to die. No, never is it going to die, because it is the wave of the future. So you have to be part of this future. Remember, the stock market's going to run high this month. Take full advantage of it. And heed the warnings when I'm ready to give them, because I will be advising you. Now remember, on the 30th of January, Mercury does turn retrograde, and this reverses so many things in our world and economy, because it's going to be in Aquarius, but it's going to back up in Capricorn, where it's going to be with all the other planets: Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, Sun, Venus, and even the moon when we have a new moon. So this is the sign of government and healing of government affairs, the economy, and the world. That's what this crescendo of explosive events this month of January will bring for all of us. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, schedule a consultation, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org, and don't forget to check out my jewelry line of malas and spiritual jewelry. And don't forget, sign up for my free newsletter. You'll get all of these details delivered to your personal email address. And the University of Vedic Astrology is starting off with a bang. January 27th of this month. Go to the website, universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.